I think it's 2 o'clock, and I think it's time that we get started. We wanted to say hello and thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to be sailing in either 22 or 29 days. We decided to combine this presentation today for both our Alaska southbound and our northbound cruises. So you'll have questions from both groups today and presentations for both groups today because so many things do overlap. I'm Connie Saunders, and I wanted to just say welcome first, and we're excited to share our presentation with you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, I'm Maureen Basie. Welcome. Great to spend this, I have to think for a second, Thursday afternoon with you all. No need to panic if you can't join us live or you're watching this recorded because many of you we know aren't able to make it in the middle of the day. We do want to make sure everyone is able to ask questions because we know many of you have questions. So we will have a Q&A at the end of this presentation that will be able to answer all of your questions. And if you are watching this recorded and your questions are not answered today, please feel free to send us your questions to info@celiaccruise.com and we'll make sure you get those answered because we want you to be relaxed going into this magical vacation. So yes, that's what this is for, to answer as much as we can so you can relax getting ready for this amazing vacation in 22 or 29 days. So yeah,
Yes.
let's get started.
It's the highlight of our every year. We just love going to Alaska. It's one of the most favorite destinations of all of our clients because it's just a bucket list for so many. So here's a little outline of what we're going to go over today. You can read it. There's a lot of things that we're going to discuss, and then at the end, like Maureen said, we're going to have questions and answers.
So yeah, so today that's the quick run through. First off, the check-in process. So you all should become familiar if you have not already with the Royal Caribbean app. I'll let Connie kind of go through the specifics of this. But yes, it is a very, very handy app. They've made lots of improvements over the last few years, the last few months, actually. So there's so much information there. And I have found like any app, it's helpful to become, just familiarize yourself with it. So when it's time to actually use it, you know where to go. So it's not as overwhelming when you have all of these different buttons and things all over the place. So yes, just become familiar with that.
Yes, and things like your cruise documents, your luggage tags, those kind of things, those are all going to show up in your app later, a little closer. Do you want to talk about check-in as open?
Yes, so check in 45 days out. So we are within that window as we did our 22 to 29 day countdown there. So you are able to check in now for your cruise. So what you'll need for that is obviously your basic information, your passport, because it does allow you to take a picture to scan the passport. You can also enter it manually if you prefer. Your information, the number, things like that. So you'll need that. And then it will ask you to take a photo. So it's for, identification throughout the cruise. And that's really what that entails, that check-in process. Then it's going to give you the option to select a boarding time. We always really want to emphasize that big point there. Do not worry. So you're going to get in there and it might say, oh my gosh, 2:30 is the earliest time you can check in. This is not critical what time it says. Yes, if you're trying to get on the ship at 9:30, I don't think I would go over there at 9:30 thinking you will get on. But at or around 11:30, after that point, when they've let the suites on, the, Pinnacle guest members who've sailed, 500 times with Royal Caribbean, at that point, you probably, for the most part, are able to start to get on the ship without having to show exactly what time your boarding time is. And we've cruised enough to feel comfortable saying that. The ship obviously does not leave until late. So there is not a huge urgency except for one very, very important thing, which is your delicious, amazing, 100% dedicated gluten-free lunch. And I know, Seward, Anchorage, where everyone is coming from, the gluten-free options, there's things, but we may be hungry. So that is the priority, obviously, making sure everyone gets fed. And it is worth getting on board for that, I can promise you. So that lunch is available, open seating between the hours 11:30 and 2 p.m. on boarding day. So again, between the hours. So if you show up at 1:50, it's okay. Obviously they will start shutting that down at or around 2 o'clock that day. There are additional options around the ship, but if you want that big wow factor, welcome aboard lunch, that's where you're going to want to go and arrive between that time. And also, your vacation's starting. So there is some benefit to getting on board if you're at around the area, but yes, the ship's not going to leave till later. So that's, choose your own adventure as you will, but that is when lunch is available.
And like Maureen said, the main thing is we get questions every single time. Do not worry about what your boarding time says. Just come on whenever you're ready because that's always, we get more and more questions every time. So boarding day is crazy. Boarding day is chaotic. Boarding day is boarding day. And then after that first day, everything calms down. There's no lines for the elevators. There's no, crowds everywhere you go. The first day is just chaotic. So if you go in knowing that we're just going to have fun the first day, then you're going to be in a much better situation. So the location of the ship is going to be in your e-documents that Royal Caribbean sends you as part of your online check-in. The one that's from the southbound is going to be, you would fly into Anchorage, but the port is in Seward. The one northbound is going to be in Vancouver. So check that out. If you have questions, let us know. But you want to arrive at the port, like we said, anytime or right after 11:30. If you want to print your luggage tags in advance, you can, and then put them on your luggage just before you go to the port. The bistro is open from 11:30 to 2. Cabins normally open about 1:30. They'll make a general announcement over the PA system when the cabins are ready. Until then, you can walk around and find out, explore the ship. You can see where the hot tubs are and the solarium and all that. But the best thing is we're going to have a welcome expo in the early afternoon where you're going to come by and get your goodies, your t-shirts, your lanyards, your wristbands, all of your credentials you'll get at the welcome expo after the first lunch during the first afternoon. And we'll give you all those details as we get a little bit closer, but you won't have credentials at your first lunch. So we'll be sending you a lunch ticket. We'll tell you all about that too. So onboard dining, we have a lot. Maureen?
So here's just a kind of general overview. We like to give you a taste, no pun intended, but not spill all of the beans here. So the Solarium Bistro is our dedicated venue throughout the duration of the ship and duration of the week on the ship. And when I say it's a stunning, stunning venue. It is a very coveted venue. It is a preferred spot for many, many guests. So you will generally find us on day one, welcoming you with open arms, but also doing some bouncing on day one because, again, only guests who are booked with Celiac Cruise will be permitted in the Solarium Bistro through the entire duration of the ship. That is obviously for our safety. That is gluten-free and it stays gluten-free for the entire sailing. So, yes, there are sometimes people, missed that memo, did not understand. They're trying to come in. So again, that is, if you see us having a conversation with a guest and, occasionally people are disappointed. So we just have to explain to them why. And for the most part, people are very understanding and go about their way. But yeah, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And what's beautiful about, again, this particular itinerary, because of it being so excursion heavy, so just adventurous. You're in Alaska, so you're coming and going. Breakfast and lunch and dinner is open seating. So there's not some set time that you have to arrive to breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So that really gives you a lot of flexibility as it relates to your excursions. So you can come and go. And what's great is Royal Caribbean is very, very flexible as the hours that they give us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And, they can vary a bit too if we're in port, late one night and we know you're not coming back to the ship, you might not get back to the ship till later, that may extend that dinner time may extend a bit as well. So fret not, you will have plenty of opportunities to eat. You will not go hungry. And there are actually four meals, dare I say. That term late night snacks, we always chuckle a bit because it is hardly a snack. It really is a full meal again, between the hours of 10 and 11. So that is another amazing option. We have some notorious very famous things that have kind of gone a bit viral on social media. Some of you know what I'm talking about that will be available through this sailing. So it's a really, really nice chance to have some things that maybe you haven't had in a while. So make sure you check out the late night snacks. And we will be posting throughout the week so you have an idea what those themes are. We theme them based upon, cuisine, so you'll have a general idea what to expect each night. But other options, there's Sorrento's Pizza. We have a dedicated oven, dedicated prep space, dedicated toppings, dedicated cutter, all the things that you would, think about. We do train the entire, we'll get into the training process of this later on in the presentation, but there is an entire section there in that area that is dedicated for us to ensure our safety. We have one person working with our pizza to just, again, ensure there's no cross contact taking place there. So that's a great option. If you get on board late, in between those hours, if you're hungry around 3 o'clock and dinner's not open yet, or you come back from an excursion, maybe missed lunch, Sorrento's, and trust me, it is a delicious pizza, delicious gluten-free pizza. So make sure you check that out. There's a place called the Dog House that's in the Seaplex. We have gluten-free buns that are available and an entire protocol there in place as well. They will be trained additionally to ensure we avoid any cross contact with that situation. That's my son Peter there, bottom left, a few years back. He's a little bigger now, but yes, it's just, again, a nice treat. Some of those forbidden things that are usually off the table in many environments, you can have again. Gluten-free ice cream cones. Again, training is in place to ensure we're, changing gloves, things like that. So you're not worried about cross contact. You don't have to worry. The actual Royal Caribbean employees are the ones who are using the machines. So no one's shoving the ice cream cone up into the ice cream. So they're actually taking care of that to, again, ensure a safe experience for us. And many other surprises. We can't tell you everything, but there is
Mhm.
so much to eat on board that we can promise you.
Yes.
Mhm.
So here are a couple of samples. These are not the real ones. These are old. These are samples from previous years. But you will all be sent the left side, which is the onboard dining guide, and then the right side, which is the events and schedule of everything that we have going on. So you'll get both of these prior to the sailing, and we'll have copies on our board in the Solarium Bistro. So you'll always know what's going on. The thing is that our events, our dining room, our Celiac Cruise events are all private. So none of our events are going to show up on the Royal Caribbean app because we don't, other people can't come to it. So you'll need to know what the events are that day for you so that you don't miss out. So we do have a whiteboard that we use in the bistro and we change it every day. So we'll remind you, but we ask you when you first come into the bistro to make a picture of the board every single day because we change it. And that way you know everything that's going on that day so that you know where the expo is or what time or where is the team meetup or where's the, whatever. So we'll be changing that board, and anytime we have a time change or anytime we have anything that you need to know, we'll make sure we put that on the board too. But just know that you'll know everything about our private events before you go, and we'll be there every single meal to answer every question you may have. And drink.
Yes. So obviously, I mean, should this be a part of your vacation? There's lots of options on board. Holidaily, I don't know if many of you know, Holidaily is a certified gluten-free truly gluten-free, not gluten removed or gluten reduced. They use 100% gluten-free grains to make their beer. And from Golden, Colorado, they are on board all of our sailings. They're only on board, brought on board for our cruises. So the traditional beer that Royal Caribbean has on board is the Dar Dam, which is gluten removed. But we will have two options of the Holiday beer on board for both weeks. So that is an option for you. It is a part of the drink package if you have that, or you can buy it a la carte, so an individual beer, as opposed to, so choose whichever you prefer. We are on board before doing the trainings, also checking all ingredients, all mixers, every single label is read. That includes all of the drinks and beverages served at the bar. So that will be checked and confirmed as of current reviews. What normally is the issue is the twisted tea, which is a malt beverage, and the gluten-containing beer. But if there is anything that is different behind those bars, you all will most definitely be made aware. But that will be confirmed once we are on board the week before. The straws, we will, fleet-wide, Royal Caribbean has shifted to strawfish. It is a gluten-free, safe straw. And one thing I can also say is that it does not unravel in your frozen beverage. So it is also a nice straw to be able to enjoy as well. But it is safe, it is biodegradable, it is good for the earth, and it is good for us. So know that. And Connie, you can talk a little bit about what is included, what is free, and what is not free as it relates to drinks on board, because I know
Sure.
sometimes that creates some confusion.
Sure. So Royal Caribbean includes ice water, iced tea, decaf regular coffee, juice, and milk. What they don't include are bottled waters, specialty coffees like cappuccinos and espressos, beer, wine, sodas, and cocktails, as well as like smoothies and those kind of drinks. So anything that they don't offer complimentary, you can purchase by the drink, or you can buy a drink package through Royal Caribbean as part of your online check-in. It's the same area where you purchase your excursions and those kind of things. So we've done the math, and it takes about 8 drinks to equate what you would spend on a drink package per day. So it's up to you. A lot of people like to not have to worry about having a bill at the end. And then some people are like, I'm never going to drink that much anyway. So it just depends on what you want to do either way. We will have bar servers in the solarium for lunch and dinner. So there will be available any wine, beer, cocktails that you would want um, in our solarium bistro, as long as they're gluten-free, of course. So the gluten-free beer would be available in our bistro. And late night we'll have servers there as well too. All right, so here's where we're going to kind of split into two groups. So if you're on the first cruise that starts in Alaska and ends in Vancouver, British Columbia, this one's for you. So this is your itinerary, and of course it could change based on weather conditions or things like that, but this is the scheduled itinerary. We're going to start from Seward, and although it says 8 o'clock, you'll see here in a second, they want us on board sooner. But we're going to see the glacier, then go to Juneau, Skagway, Icy Point Strait at sea, and then Vancouver. We're going to spend the night there on the 11th, which is really nice. We did get a notification from Royal Caribbean, which everybody got. But remember, Seward is 125 miles away from Anchorage. So it's a 3-hour drive, and they want everybody to make sure that you've purchased you either independently or through Royal some kind of transfer to get you to the ship, because it's a long way. The most common transfers are by bus or train. The bus takes about 3 hours. The train takes about 6. If you booked, we've already gotten a couple of questions about this in the past. If you booked a Royal Caribbean train, then you're fine, because it's a Royal Caribbean train that you booked. And I think it doesn't get in till 4:30. But just make sure that you booked the train with Royal Caribbean in order for you not to miss your ship. So just want to make sure that you understand that you can't just land in Anchorage and then take a quick taxi ride or Uber, because it's quite a long way. If you're on the northbound, that's sailing from British Columbia, Vancouver, up to Alaska. Notice that this says 8 o'clock, but some of the recent confirmations have said 10 o'clock. Doesn't matter because they also sent this that you need to be on board by 4:30. So if you're heading northbound, if you're on the June 12th sailing, everybody should have gotten this already that you need to be on board by 4:30 because customs leaves at 5. And after 5, you won't be able to get on or off the ship because customs will be gone. So it doesn't really matter what time we leave because you have to be on board by 4:30. So they suggest you arrive by 4 because there could be lines. Here again, you can get on the ship as early as like 11:30 and have your lunch. The lunch will be the same. So I wouldn't wait till 4 unless there's some reason. But just so that you know the difference. And then once again, when you get up to Seward up in Alaska at the north end of your trip, it's also a 3-hour trip by bus or a 6-hour trip by train afterwards. So you're not going to want to wait to get a transfer while you're on the cruise. You're going to want to book your transfer for either cruise to get to the ship in Seward. It's a pretty big deal. In Vancouver, you're fine for an Uber or a cab. It's just the Seward, Alaska. It's so far from Anchorage. So here again, if you have any questions, let us know. But it's definitely a beautiful drive. The train is very scenic. The bus ride is even very scenic. So it's just going to be the icing on the cake, right? Royal Caribbean, you can purchase your beverage packages right here in the app. This is a picture of the app. You can purchase shore excursions, you can get internet, you can get, that sort of thing. Notice how it says dining. This is just a picture, it's not clickable, but dining, you don't need to worry about that because you have a private, dedicated, gluten-free restaurant for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and late night snacks. So you don't need to book any dining. You don't need to reserve any dining. You don't need to do anything about dining. So don't worry about that. Room service, we don't suggest that because room service comes from a shared kitchen, but you can always come to our kitchen, our dining room, and get food and take it back. This slide is about excursions. So I just wanted you to see within the app, this is the shore excursions tab, and you can sort by the number of days and port, like which day and port you want here, the activity level that you want here, and then you can just scroll through and check. A lot of times people say, oh, I wanted to do that railroad, but it's, or that one excursion, but it's sold out. Don't worry. Check back often because a lot of people change their mind or they decide to do a different shore excursion or whatever. But there's a secret tip that when you first get on the ship, they do sometimes hold some back. So when you get on the ship, go straight to the shore excursions desk and ask them if they have any excursions for the one that you're looking for. There's also sometimes some outside shore excursion companies that you can use. We don't really encourage those because if you book through the cruise line, then you're guaranteed to get back to the ship. The ship will wait for you. So sometimes Alaska's, it's very rugged, it's very outdoors, but it's very beautiful. So you're going to love it.
So, what to wear? Many people ask us this. And first and foremost, I think it's important. This is your cruise. That's the beauty of cruising now. Like, there is no required attire. I think people ask that, yes, you're not wearing a bathing suit into dinner, into the solarium, but you'd probably be a bit cold to do that anyway. So I wouldn't advise it regardless. But, it is Alaska as well. So we find usually that Alaska is a bit more laid back than maybe, what you might see in the Caribbean. But, if you are in, it's a nice chance to get that holiday photo taken if you've got the whole family and it's an opportunity to force people to dress up, which I sometimes am guilty of. But, there are sometimes attire that the ship does go by, because some people really want to get into this. So there's 70s night, there's dress your best night, and then a lot of just casual nights. But what you can find, if that bottom right-hand corner there, you'll see in the app, here we are again, the daily planner. As we get closer, you will see they're going to post the attire. So where Connie's pointing right now, tonight's attire, resort casual. So they will post that in there. It could already be in there now, but all of that is going to be listed in there. But this is your, again, your cruise. Choose to do what you will with it. But there is, theming if you would like to participate in that. But usually there are 2 nights that they call Dress Your Best. And you'll see everything. There will be some people walking around and they're in ball gowns and tuxedos. But then you do not need to feel uncomfortable if you're like, "Nah, I'm in my jeans and sweater because I just got back from dog sledding." So this is your cruise. So we want you to do what you will with it. Also, what you will find in this app here is the time changes. What happens a lot in Alaska, you'll go forward an hour, go back an hour, right up at that top hand corner in the second. Connie, I need you to, there you go. Pop ship's time. Always rely on the ship time. The captain comes on daily, not to wake us, but normally midday and then in the evening to let you know, keep you posted as to what time, if we're going forward an hour, coming back. There's also usually information by the cabin steward left on your bed, but that is important to know because sometimes these excursions either are on local time or they're staying on ship time. So it's important to kind of keep track of that. But your phones can confuse you because all of a sudden you're in British Columbia and the phone thinks it's this time. But what you want to pay attention to is whatever that ship time is, because that's the official time of really where you are. Any
Yes.
additional notes on that, Connie? I know I've messed that up a few times.
No, you did
So.
great. The main thing is if you have questions about how to set your phone to where it doesn't change on you, we just you take it off automatic, and we can help you with that. One other thing about attire for Alaska is the secret to being successful in Alaska is layers, because it might be misting rain in the morning, and then the sun may come out and it might be beautiful. So you'll want to take like something that's waterproof or rainish, okay, as well as sweaters, long sleeve shirts, jeans, of course, waterproof shoes if you have them, or if not, comfortable walking shoes or boots. It's beautiful. It's all about being out and enjoying the outdoors. So, but it's chilly. It's Alaska. That's why we're going, right? So, very casual, very comfy, very warm clothes are going to be the secret to success. So, as part of the Celiac Cruise, your gratuities have been prepaid for you. So, those are your regular shipboard gratuities. So, your cabin steward's already going to be the person that cleans your room every single day and makes it beautiful. And you're like, oh my gosh, I love this. Why can't he or she come home with me? Those gratuities are going to be prepaid already. But if you feel inclined to give an additional tip, then you should do so. The waiters and wait staff in the Solarium Bistro have already received their, $2 per passenger per day from you. So they're probably going to make about somewhere less than, $20 from you for the whole week. So if you would decide you want to give additional tips, you certainly can. We also are going to bring thank you cards with us, and we'll pass those out for free. You can write a note of encouragement, a note of thank you, and you can even stick something inside if you would like. So that's just, we get these questions all the time, and we thought we would just include it in the webinar. So the good thing is your gratuities, you should not be charged on board every day in your daily account. You can check that in your app because you're already prepaid.
Your amazing ship. There is so much to do. Obviously, there's so much to do in Alaska, but you do have, 1 to 2 sea days, and you will not get bored. Again, this is actually some real pictures of real people, not stock images, as you may have gathered, enjoying the Ovation of the Seas very much. This ship's got rock climbing walls, flow riders, the North Star, which is that thing in the top left image there. You're able to, is it still, I believe it's free for everyone to do
It
once.
is. It
The
in
really,
port.
Yes, import the really, really coveted times when you're going through the glacier. The ideal times there is, I believe, a charge for those, and I think you need to book those in advance. But it's a really neat experience. Even if you're afraid of heights, it's a slow increase. I would encourage you to try it. It's a neat thing. It's a big pod. They probably fit 16 people up there. So it's not a small little, oh, yeah, that gives a good image bottom right there. Something to try. The high fly ripcord, it's a simulator that makes you feel like you're skydiving. I've done it a few times. That's my daughter Maggie and I. Definitely something to try once. You know, you're on the back of a ship. It's a pretty cool thing to say that you've done. And it's, they're very helpful. I would not if you're back issues, I will tell you, it blows you to a point that, I think my lower back was a little the next day, but nothing significant. But they're very helpful and instructive. I know they have separate things that they're like, you need to go book a time with a coach, and the coach like costs money. They're not going to send you up there without some instructions. So don't feel like you need to book that special coach time for a fee, because again, it's Royal Caribbean. They're not going to not tell you what to do and how to be safe. So it's a fun experience. Obviously, gluten-free food. There's shopping. There's the Cplex, which is such a great venue. We don't have an image of that, I don't think, unless my big noggin is blocking it. No, but it's a multi-use venue. That's where you'll see there's bumper cars, there's country line dancing, there's basketball, there's pickleball. They just do so much there. It's a really fun place. So keep an eye in the app of all the different activities that are taking place there. We'll have some kid hangouts back there too. Obviously, there's a spa, there's a casino, lounges, shows. The kids club is phenomenal on these ships. They've got science experiments and all different things. So you can definitely feel free to enjoy those. My kids really have enjoyed them as well. The flow rider there, that is a very younger version of Patrick, who I had to drag off of that thing each day. It's a little cooler, so the lines are not as long as you would find them to be on the Caribbean sailing. So take advantage of that. So it's a really fun thing. And again, those people are just so kind and really helpful with adults and kids, and patient, and they tell you exactly what you need to do. And even when you get thrown off, it does not hurt. So again, what a cool thing to do on a ship. Give it a try if you're feeling brave, or even a little bit brave. It's not too scary.
I want to talk about this little picture right here in the middle, the lady in the pool and the
Yes.
solarium. So this is our solarium. So our restaurant is right behind where this lady is in this photo. This whole front area of the ship is adults only. It's quiet, it's serene, it's peaceful. It's the perfect place to be on Glacier Day or any time that we're sailing through the fjords. But this whole area up here is adults only. Our restaurant, of course, if there's any kids in our group, then of course kids can go in our restaurant, but no kids are allowed out here. But it's a beautiful area. There's this wading pool, there's a couple of hot tubs. So it's beautiful. There's also an indoor swimming pool and hot tubs, and then there's an outdoor swimming pool and hot tubs, believe it or not. And I see lots of people in those outdoor pools in the middle of Alaska freezing to death, but it's part, I guess, right?
They're heated. They're heated
Yes,
though. So
yes,
it's nice. Obviously, let's talk about safety. This will be cruise number, because we're about to do 32 next week. This will be number 33 and 34 you all will
yes.
be on. And that's for a reason. We treat each individual cruise like it's the first time we've ever done it. The safety protocols that are put in place are repeated and done every single time, regardless if it's anyone the same. We treat every single cruise like it's the first time. Every ingredient is reviewed, checked, triple checked, quadruple checked before it comes up into our galley. The Celiac Disease Foundation is on board prior to and during the sailing as well. well. We are training, you'll see some images here. The culinary team is trained. They get a little crash course and a little bit more than a crash course, actually, about the gluten-free diet, about celiac disease in general. And we really, really are proud that we think they take some of that information for future, the future of hospitality, that they learn that a little more about this. So we hope that that's our assistance in the hospitality world, that people understand more a little bit about celiac disease and why we have to, adhere to this diet. The food and beverage team is trained. The kids clubs are trained. The dishwashers are trained. Every single person who has any contact and involvement in our program will have an understanding. The servers, of course, as well, of what celiac disease is and the importance of what this means. So you all can fully relax on your vacation for possibly one of the first times in a while. The menus are reviewed, so we're doing line item by line item. Okay, here's a sauce. What's going in this sauce? Okay, so normally gluten-free soy sauce, all of those things that, are in the back of our heads constantly. So for once, you can know that that has been checked and reviewed. The venues are vetted, clean, deep clean, but we do reviews with them immediately before, the night before, and also the morning before the galleys are turned. Additional dietary restrictions, as many of you have inquired, obviously we know everything is gluten-free, so there's nothing you need to discuss as it relates to gluten-free. If you have additional dietary restrictions, we are going to ask that you communicate with us, and we will introduce you to someone from our culinary team. Obviously, we are very familiar. Dairy, you name it, we'll introduce you to the culinary team so they can help and ensure you have a safe meal, that your safety is our number one priority. So they can make accommodations. And we have had many guests sail with us with additional dietary restrictions who have been very, very, very happy. So you are in good hands. So yes, that's kind of the ins and outs of what goes on behind the scenes. So again, you can fully relax.
Onboard events. So we have a lot of events where we get together on board. We're going to have the Solarium Bistro, so we'll really get to mingle with each other. We'll be able to get to know each other better because it's just us in that environment. But we also have some really fun events that we have on board. Remember, it's your vacation, so you can choose to do as much or as little as you want, but we want to offer times when we can all get together if you want to. So we'll have adult meetups, we'll have kids get-togethers. On day 2, we'll have a keynote presentation that is complimentary. You're welcome to come. We ask that you sign up for it so that so that we know you're coming. But we also have some philanthropic events. So when we first started Celiac Cruise, Maureen and I decided we wanted to give back. And so what we did is we partnered with the Celiac Disease Foundation, and we do philanthropic events on all of our cruises, and all of the money goes back to the Celiac Disease Foundation's food insecurity program. So what that is a program where we feed families gluten-free food, the families that can't afford it. So they've been identified through the hospital system that they are food insecure, and we are able to send boxes of gluten-free food to their home. So we feel amazingly awesome about it. I don't even know if that sounds right, but we do. We fed like 700 families through the years, maybe more. It doesn't even matter. It's because it just it matters to those people, and it makes us feel really great. So not only are the events fun, but it's helping to feed families. So you'll see there's a holiday beer sampling, beer flight, a karaoke party, which is a silent auction, and then also a taste of royal. All of those are paid events, and we encourage you to sign up for those and pay for those, because here again, all the money goes to, cruising for a cause. The Taste of Royal, I do want to spend just a couple of minutes on, because unfortunately, it is a capacity controlled special lunch that we have on board our sailings, and it is awesome. It's a taste of all of this, or many of their specialty restaurants on board that normally contain, they come from like a kitchen. Normally, you would go to a restaurant that's not a dedicated gluten-free restaurant. What they do for us is they take the menu items from these specialty restaurants, they prepare them in our dedicated gluten-free environment, and then you get to enjoy like a five-course, ultimate, indulgent, amazing, incredible lunch. It's $75, but it is one of the things you'll be talking about for years. So I would encourage you to sign up for that one early because it does sell out. But that's something you won't want to miss. We will have a coffee and conversation on board or two, and that's just where we get together. We have some gluten-free pastries and some coffee, some juice. We just sit around and talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's led by the Celiac Disease Foundation, and it's mostly just a conversation. Whatever you want to talk about, we can talk about, and it's a lot of fun. For adults, it's not a kid event, but it's really great. People come out of that saying, "I'm so glad I came." So make sure to sign up for Coffee and Convo and so much more. So the main thing is that we will have registration links coming out very soon. A few weeks before the cruise, we'll send the links to you, and you can start registering for them right there. Okay, questions and answers. So if you're watching the recording and we don't cover your questions, just send an email to info@celiaccruise.com and we can reply. But let's hear what the questions are in the Q&A now. All right.
Okay. First question. So, can we grab a plate in the solarium and meet family not booked with Celiac Cruise to be able to eat next to them? Obviously food safety is a very big, important thing on cruise ships in general. I would think in public areas, the cruise line would not have a problem. I can't speak for other dining rooms if they are going to be okay with you taking a plate of food into another dining room. I think obviously if you were going to take it outside to like a casual place, like you'll see in the bistro, there's a bunch of tables outside and things like that. I don't think they'd have any issues in, the casual type places, but I don't know about dinner. You would obviously have to check specifically with them to inquire about that. Okay, curious if meals can be to go, like if we have an excursion and want to pack a meal to go. We get this question very frequently, and our answer always is the only reason we ever say no is if there's probably a rule in place that doesn't allow us to do things. Alaska is one of those places that they have very, very, very strict agricultural food laws. And you will hear overhead, please no food off the ship. What you will receive from us on check-in day in your bags, you will have snacks, bars, things like that are helpful for prepackaged food is fine to take off the ship. So prepackaged jerkies, bars, anything that we usually rely upon in our bags to get by with those type experiences. If there's a way, we would make it happen. But again, the last thing we would want would be one of our guests to get in trouble from, dogs outside sniffing for food. And there are, I can't explain it, but there seems to be rules in place. Have our guests done it before and gotten by without any issue? Yes, they have. And again, I don't think they're going to put you in jail. But again, this is off the record. So, this is at your own discretion should you choose to take food off the ship. How's that PC response?
That's pretty good. The
Okay.
next question is more about bringing, gluten-free snacks, like
Yes.
prepackaged snacks.
Yep.
So you want to answer that one?
Yes. And so, like we said, we will supply you in your bags on check-in day with a few bars. Again, it's not going to be enough to get you through the entire week if you need a bar every day, but we will provide you with some on day one. So you'll have a few items, but again, I would ensure, feel free to bring items like that pre-packaged for excursions and things like that. And then obviously, if there are places that are safe off the ship, Alaska is not known for them. But we have found a few places in the past. There's a popcorn place, I believe, in Skagway. Things like that we have found. We will let you know of them. But yes. We'll be taking the train through Royal Caribbean from Anchorage to Seward. Will I miss out on getting any gluten-free goodies on board outside of the lunch? So kind of just like what we said, we'll get you your bag. If we don't see you at the check-in, we'll find you that night at dinner and make sure you get your bag, and that those items will be inside your bag. So you won't miss. No. Can I still use a Royal Caribbean app even if I don't purchase an internet package? Connie, I'll let you take that.
Yeah, so absolutely, yes. When you get on board the ship, we suggest you put your phone on airplane mode, and then you can connect to Royal Caribbean's app. You can connect either for free or you can connect to their internet and pay. So if you connect the free way, then you can use the app. You can communicate through the app to other people in the app that you know, so like your family or friends. You can communicate through the chat feature of the app. All that is free. What you can't do on the free version is message people back home or call people back home or anything like that until you get to a port of call where you can get on the land and get on the cell service. If you need internet access so that you can do emails and Facebook and, call people and all that, then you'll want to get their Wi-Fi and pay to connect to their Wi-Fi. So you can connect for free or connect to pay, but either way, you're going to want to put your phone on airplane mode and connect to their Wi-Fi.
What time will breakfast be at on departure day for those ending in Seward? Buses seem to be leaving at 7. Is this an issue? No, I actually just confirmed. Breakfast is posted 6:30 to 8 for disembarkation morning. Royal Caribbean is notorious, and we love them for this, for opening venues early as well. So I would not be surprised if that venue is open by 6, 6:15, maybe safer for me to say out loud, but it is posted at 6:30, so you'll definitely be able to get a breakfast. And again, if buses are officially leaving at 7, I again would not be surprised if that venue ends up opening at 6. So we'll check back and get you that, but you'll definitely be able to have a breakfast before you travel. Will dinner be buffet style too, or will there be a menu to order from? Thinking of the great menus offered on sailings, will we have a dedicated main dining room? What's awesome about, again, the Solarium venue and how it's set up, dinner's a little bit different. It feels a little bit different in there. You will have a menu. The first 2 courses are kind of served tapas style, that you're able to go and choose as many items as you want, but then you will order from a menu for the dinner entree. So, yes. This is the
This is
first.
the first,
Okay.
oh, go ahead.
This is the first time hearing of the Taste of Royal event. How do we sign up?
So we'll be sending a link out in a couple of weeks with the details on how to sign up for that. There's also another question. I already signed up for Royal Caribbean's Taste of Royal. Does it conflict with anything that is in our time? So ours is completely different. Ours is dedicated gluten-free. So I would suggest canceling that one and joining ours because theirs is not gluten-free. And ours is for a fundraiser. So if you've already booked it, don't worry, you can cancel it and just come and enjoy ours. And it's win-win-win. So you'll get to see us.
And I promise if your husband is not gluten-free, he will not know the difference. And he may
Nope.
even say ours is better. I mean, something that you all should know. So the ship has the executive chef on board, right? He's there, he's responsible for the entire ship. We also have an extra chef, and that extra chef is there for us. So that kind of ends up making our food a little bit at times people compliment our food. They say, "Actually, let me go try something else in a different dining room." And they very frequently come back and say, "I'm going to eat here instead." So we just have a lot of special attention. They love us. They love being a part of it, which again, thinking about how sometimes we traditionally feel in restaurants, it's really, really, really refreshing to feel the culinary team, the food and beverage team, the servers actually requesting to be a part of this, because they just really, really enjoy our appreciation and our love for just being able to eat safely. So it's a really special experience for everybody involved in it. How do we get our room card, Connie?
Yes, so like I said, the rooms will be available usually about 1:30. They'll make an announcement. And when you get to your cabin, your card will be outside in the little pouch. In an envelope, you just open it and each person has their own room card with their name on it. And it'll be right outside your cabin.
Is there a size restriction on a refillable water bottle that we bring from home? There is no size restriction. As I referenced earlier, food safety and just safety in general is very, very important. So they do not want you taking your water bottle to the water stations and just putting it up there. But a trick that I always do, and it's amazing because we have one of these water stations right in our solarium. I will get some of the individual plastic water tumblers or the glasses that are next to the water station, and I'll fill two up individually and will pour them into my water bottle. That way I am able to access the water for free, which is, it's filtered, it's wonderful, it's great, but then you're also not, from a safety perspective, putting anybody or yourself in a situation. Can my non-celiac husband eat at other dining options if he is a part of this group? Yes, obviously he will need to wear the wristband or lanyard to get into the solarium. And once he leaves the solarium, he is free to, dine wherever he wants. We have had times that people will ask and say, do you need gluten-free? Just because they've been trained so well and they're just so concerned about safety. So we, again, we'd rather them be overcautious than undercautious. So be patient with them. But the only thing that we ask, obviously, he is assigned to the solarium as it relates to, dinner as opposed to the main dining room. But in terms of other venues, he's, welcome to eat wherever throughout the cruise. Doctors on board.
Yes, there's a whole medical facility on board. There's usually one or two doctors, at least two or four nurses. It's a full facility available, and we're never too far from land. So if there's some kind of an emergency, then, like we had one time when someone's appendix, and they had to have surgery. This is a perfect time to just say, if you haven't purchased travel insurance yet, please purchase travel insurance. Alaska is remote. It's in the wilderness. It's in the wild. If you have a claim, if you need to be, if you fall or something, nobody's going to fall. Nobody's going to have anything happen. I would rather it be the best money you never used, right? But if something were to happen, you really need to have medical insurance that will cover you, including, emergency evacuation. So if you haven't purchased travel insurance, this is my call out to do that. Do the rooms have mini fridges? So they're not really refrigerators. They don't keep food cold, but if you want to chill a water or chill some sodas or something, it's a cooler. It's not a fridge. If you need a medical fridge, if you need something for a medical purpose, just let us know and we can send you the special needs form, and Royal Caribbean will take care of that. I'll
Um,
take this one. Based
Go
on
ahead.
how many tickets are sold, how busy can we expect dining to be? Do we need to line up early? So here's my secret tip and trick for the Solarium Bistro. If you see a line, just wait a few minutes and come back. It's not oversold, right? So we have seats for everybody to turn once. So if everybody comes exactly when we open it, let's say we open at 6, I'm making that up, but let's say we open at 6. If everybody comes at 6, there'll be a line. But if you wait and come at, 7, there may not be a line. Or if you come at 7:12, there may not be anybody at all. So just, swing by if there's a line and you don't want to wait, just come back in a few minutes. It's not like that it's going to be a line the whole time. The super secret trick to late night, though, is that it's from 10 to 11, and it's not just snacks. We call it snacks, but it's really a fourth meal. The late night meal, we do find that most people show up right at 10. So if you wait till 10:15 or 10:20, then you most likely won't be in a line at all. So if you're at a show and you don't get out till 10:15 or 10:20, it'll be perfect. Come on up then.
Internet. Is it mandatory to purchase an internet package to be able to use the app while on the ship? Do you advise we purchase internet access?
So I covered that already. You can either connect to the internet for free through their app or you can pay for the internet. It's up to you. If you need to be connected back home with emails, Facebook, making phone calls while you're on the ship, then you may want to purchase the internet access. Um, I will say that it's Alaska. Most ports are American or Canadian. Most cell phone plans work in Canada and the US for free. Check with your cell phone carriers. So when you're off the ship in port, most of your cell phones will work for free anyway on sale. So just check with your cell phone carrier and decide if you want to purchase it. The only time you would need it is while we're sailing.
Any tips for how we should stay organized between ship events and Celiac Cruise events and excursions? Seems a bit hard to plan out the day and know where to be and where.
Yes, so our super secret trick is to make a picture of our board so that you know what our events are, and then that way you can go back and forth between what Royal Caribbean's events are and what our events are. We also will be sending you our master schedule for the week, so you could print that out at home and have that with you. It seems overwhelming now because you're trying to plan everything, but once you get on board and you start relaxing and you start seeing those whales jumping or the dolphins jumping or the bald eagle, all of it just it really doesn't matter anymore. It's really great.
Will there be a meal to go on disembarkation day in Vancouver? Again, kind of referencing back to what I said, if there's a reason we say no, it's probably because of a rule or a law that we didn't make. Vancouver, again, is one of those things because you will be leaving and entering a different country. It's the same thing with customs. So thinking about entering disembarkation into Canada from coming from Alaska, they are not going to allow you in with any food. So Vancouver does have some amazing gluten-free options though, so we'll make sure you have those in hand to be able to grab something hopefully close to the port.
And you will have a big breakfast before you go.
Yes.
So, yes.
Yes. Never done a cruise. Are we able to leave the ship, come back for lunch, and go back out, or is that not very practical?
So most of the ports have the little town or the little excursion very close by. So it is feasible to go off and on the ship if you want. But you may find that after eating 4 meals a day for several days, that it might be okay one day to just have like a big breakfast and then maybe skip lunch and then have dinner. Or you may want to like have breakfast and lunch and then go out and do a long excursion and then have dinner at like 8 o'clock. So the good thing about being open seating is that you don't have to be back exactly by 4:30 so that you can shower, get dressed, and sit down by 5 o'clock in the main dining room and have, the same thing every night at 5 o'clock and you're stuck at 5 o'clock. This is open seating. You get to enjoy the surroundings. You get to enjoy Alaska. And so, you'll get into a rhythm, I'm sure.
Can we leave the ship after we board in Seward if we want to explore the town?
Um, Maybe. So sometimes they
Depends.
do. Sometimes they let you. Seward might be one of those. Remember, that's one of the ones where they want you on board early. So it depends on what time customs leaves. Seward is a teeny tiny little fishing village town. So I don't know. We could, if you'll email us, Christina, we'll look into that and answer it to you.
Clothes. So Connie had kind of mentioned, obviously, this is your cruise in terms of what you choose to wear at night on board. As it relates to Alaska, layers are really, really key. Some water wear if you're doing water type excursions, definitely thinking through that. I definitely, Alaska, it's the only time when I pack where I use the suction bags, just because I do not want to buy that $90 windbreaker in the gift shop. So I would much rather have my own instead of, kids being cold and me needing to buy, the branded Alaska keepsake. So, you can get those on Amazon pretty cheap. The inflatable things for your suitcase to kind of get everything condensed. So we might think about that, but layers are really, really key. So, because the temperatures really can vary. How many are booked for the Celiac Cruise southbound? We are what, 280, Connie? Right about 280, I think, on both. So both of these sailings are 1000% sold out. I mean, it is definitely, Alaska is our most popular every single year, the first to sell out every single time. So you all are lucky to be on this cruise. People love it. The itinerary, the solarium, the setup, it's a really, really, really popular sailing. So the ship too, it's a really great ship. So you'll really, really love it. Sitka traveling north, we received a communication that we need to book a shuttle to town. Is this necessary if we are taking a ship planned excursion?
I'll answer that one. So in Sitka, there is a complimentary shuttle to downtown, but if you're taking an excursion, then the shore excursion ticket will give you the details of when and where to meet, and they will take you where they need to take you. If you need to take a shuttle, they'll have one already planned for you. So Sitka Ports is not next to the village. You're right. So with that one, it's a free shuttle ticket, and you book the time that you want to go over. Coming back, you just queue up in a line and to come back. So that's something you'll get as you get a little bit closer.
When we arrive in Vancouver the first night, can we leave the ship that night or do we stay on the ship due to customs being closed?
Yeah, you'll have to be on the ship and stay on the ship. Once customs closes, they can't let anybody on or off because you're actually leaving the country when you get on the ship. So unfortunately,
Is it realistic for me to think I could pack? I started to type and I started to laugh. I laugh only because like I can hardly do that for a weekend. It's obviously a very, again, I'm laughing at myself, not laughing at you. I just am a significantly overpacking problem. But people do it. People go to Europe for 2 weeks in a carry-on. So the question is it realistic for me to think I could pack a carry-on only instead of checking a bag? Um, People do it. I mean, they really, really do. I mean, I think anything's realistic. And please let us know. But I know, I'm sure there's people who definitely have done this. So, as long as you have what you need, I mean, I think as we get closer, we'll be able to get a general idea of the weather. And we'll have that in the final newsletters that we send you all. We kind of talk about what anticipated weather is. But, as we know that changes. But yes, there will be much, much more information as, we send our final newsletter about 10 to 12 days out. That's going to have overview of every single thing. It's going to have all of the schedules, the dining guide, things like that. So you will have plenty of information of all of what you need. So you will be ready to roll. If not going to the wilderness, we really need waterproof shoes or boots? If you're not going
well, it rains in Alaska 364 days a year, but sometimes it's just a mist and sometimes it's, a little heavier mist. No, you don't need to have waterproof shoes or boots. It's just that it could be rainy, it could be muddy, but I mean, people don't, there's a lot of people that go that don't have waterproof. So that was just a suggestion. One of the things we didn't talk about, but we want to make sure that if you are on Facebook, that you have joined our Facebook group for this sailing, for your sailing, because we will be posting information in that sailing while we're on board. If anything changes, or I mean, we'll always have our whiteboard, but we always use the Facebook group while we're sailing to communicate. So if you are a Facebook user and would like to join that, you can go ahead and do that. There's already been a few people who have, lots of people have joined, and many people have already said, "Hey, I'm Connie and I'm coming from Florida and I can't wait to meet everybody." So it's a great place to already go ahead and meet people, and then you'll be able to, kind of get to know who you are. Judith, if you don't have Wi-Fi, then you'll just know from the whiteboard when you come in for the meals. So it wouldn't be in the app, it would just be in the whiteboard. So
Well, thank you all so, so much for joining us this afternoon or recording whenever you're watching. We're very much looking forward to this cruise. Thank you for trusting us. As many of you know, celiac disease is personal to us. This is not just a cruise. This is a story of, my family who's dealt with this. And so we hope you all finally have a chance to relax on that vacation, and experience what so many of our guests have before. So thank you, thank you. And we cannot wait to meet you in a few weeks. Safe travels. And until then, we'll see you soon.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.